Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Inspirational Interviews. I'm Hannah Levin with Heartfelt Wellbeing, and I have one of my besties here to interview today for our inspirational interview. I'm so excited to introduce her to you all, and it's a real pleasure to get to spend time with her on Facebook. For the next half hour. Before I introduce her, though, I want to remind you all that I'm going live using StreamYard. If you're joining me live and you would like to leave a comment, please give StreamYard permission so I can see who you are. And feel free to chime in if you have questions along the way. We can certainly engage with what you're thinking and what you'd like information on. So today, my guest is Jessica Johnson. So I'm going to read her little bio that she gave me, and then I'm going to add a little bit personal note to it. So Jessica has studied herbal plants for nearly 2 decades. She is the founder of Lila Herbals, a small batch organic herb farm to body skin product line, which I can highly recommend. I use them every day. She is a nurse specializing in fertility and pediatric care and serves to bridge the benefits of Western and integrative medicine through her certification as an Arvigo abdominal and uterine therapist and functional medicine nutritionist. Very qualified lady. Her first childhood crush was with a dandelion, and she continues to pass along childhood plant connection and herbal knowledge to kids in her upcoming online story and learning program, the Herb Kids Club. So before I introduce Jessica, I want to say that I met Jessica, we think in 2003 in a bar. Okay, so this is kind of out of character. We met in a bar. And we ended up becoming really good friends and playing music together. If any of you have my albums, Jessica sings harmony on both of my CDs. And she is just a sister friend in this journey through life. And I'm so excited to introduce her to you all here today. So please make welcome Jessica Johnson.
Hi.
Hi. So glad you're here.
Oh,
so
I'm
glad
so
we
glad
met
to
in
be
that.
here.
Yeah, so glad we met in that bar so many years ago.
Me too. I don't think we've been to one together since.
No, I don't think we have. Well, I think we played in a couple. I think we
That's
played
true.
music in a couple, but
we have definitely played in a few.
yeah. Our alter egos, the late
That's right.
rock stars that play music. So let's have you just introduce yourself a little bit to everybody by letting them know a bit about your story of how you came to be interested in herbalism and healing with the wisdom of plants.
Yeah. You know, it really did start for me when I was a little kid. I tend towards introversion. Every once in a while, my introvert gets bored and wants to turn an extrovert, but I tend towards introversion. And as a kid, you know, the way for me to do that was to be outside with my nose all up in the flowers and, you know, literally the things that were right out front, my front door, right? You know, it wasn't like I could wander far, you know, and I would have my nose up in the dandelions and smelling all kinds of flowers. And it was just like, I just realized that there was a lot of magic going on in these plants. And so I played with them. They were kind of my friends, you know. And then when I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, which is when you and I met, I did a 6-month herbal apprenticeship with a woman, Juliet Blancaspor. And it was just incredible. It just changed my life because we got to play with the plants in her backyard. And she had an entire herbal apothecary growing in her backyard. And then she'd take us out in the woods in the Appalachians and the Smoky Mountains to meet and greet with all of these amazing plants. And she's both a botanist, science side teacher, as well as, you know, in touch with the more kind of spiritual, magical aspects, if you will, of the medicines of the plants. And, you know, I learned how to make tinctures, salves, dry them for herbs, do all kinds of amazing things with these plant friends. And at the time, it was a very healing journey for myself. You know, there's so much to say about herbs, but in particular for me, learning about just the very simple, basic herbs out my front door that I could go walk outside and put on my skin, make into a tea and drink was the best thing that I think came out of it. So that's kind of what I'm here to share a little bit more about today.
Awesome. Yeah, it's phenomenal when we realize there's medicine and food all around us, right?
Yes.
It's like a whole new world.
Yes. And I remember being very excited with you through that medicine journey that both you and I think started going on around a similar time. And we'd be like, oh, have you harvested your nettles yet?
You can put them in quiche and make pesto too, right?
It's so cool. Add some chickweed.
Yeah, so fun exploring together. Yeah, so do you want to talk to us about some of these herbs? You had mentioned calendula, holy basil, and lavender as some that really stand out to you as herbal allies. But you want to just do a little teaching for us on each of those herbs?
I will. And I'm not going to go obviously too in depth on all of these herbs, but I picked these three, specifically I am talking about herbs for skin today and herbs and as oils. And so, one of the things that I think about, and this is really kind of a way of like up leveling your mindset about self-care. Because we can say this self-care aspect. And for me, sometimes it just gets a little bit like, oh gosh, I've got to do my self-care. But I've learned as far as doing oils and herbs for the skin to think of it more as I'm anointing myself, because anointing is like this very, very ancient practice that is essentially making sacred through ceremony with the use of oil and water or water. And, it's kind of like what they did when they would anoint someone as queen or king, right? So it's literally up leveling your mindset on like self-care. I am going to anoint myself today with these herbs and these oils. It's not just, here's my self-care. It's, no, we are making a queen.
I love it.
So that's the way I like to be playful, too, with using these. So with anointing oneself with these herbs, it can look as simple as just kind of rubbing, into your temples, rubbing somewhere on your body that feels stuck. I like to up level again and kind of do an anointing massage with a lot of the herbal oils, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But going back to these three herbs in particular that I'm talking about today with anointing, calendula is an amazing vulnerary herb. Vulnerary meaning wound healer for the skin. So specifically, one of the things that it does is it helps to move the lymph. So it's really great for wounds that are maybe sticking around for a while, because usually when it's sticking around, it's because the lymph has gotten stuck. It's congested, right? So, and I'll show you, I'm a show and tell kind of presenter. So see if I can show you these. Yeah. These are beautiful calendula flowers, right? These came from my garden. I grow these in my garden every single year. They're so easy to grow. They're a beautiful plant because they just reseed themselves. So if you plant them one year, 99% chance you'll get them back in your garden year after year after year, because they reseed and they start growing. And they're also really cool because when you pick off one of these little flower heads, the more you pick, basically, the more they grow. It's one of those plants that it likes to keep giving, which is really cool. So here's that calendula flower. And this is what you use, too, when you make the oil. You'll just pluck these off. And a lot of that medicine that helps that lymph move is just right here in that little green pod that's underneath those petals. The petals are also fun to just pick off and sprinkle in food to add color. They're edible. But it is a wound healer, and it's great for any general skin ailment. If you have a bug bite, if you have something that's itching, in general, like a rash. It's very good for eczema, psoriasis, those kind of rashes. I put it in my baby bum balm that I make and sell, and I sell that and made that because I had a baby, as you know,
life-changing.
And and they get diaper rashes. My little guy luckily does not get very many of them, but when he does, they never last because I have this awesome baby bum balm that has calendula infused into it, and you just rub a tiny bit on and it's gone by the next day. So that is our calendula friend. And Tulsi, or holy basil, is a really cool one. And I wanted to talk about this one specifically with you because, as you know, it has such a amazing history in Ayurveda.
Yeah.
The Ayurveda tradition and culture it's a very sacred herb in the Ayurveda culture. They call it, I have to read this, or I have to look at this word. They refer to holy basil as a rasayana, which is Sanskrit, which means to lengthen the lifespan. And, before I go into using this on the skin, I just want to note that it's an adaptogen. And, this lengthening the lifespan is really a great way, I think, to frame what an adaptogen herb is. It's one of those plants that kind of is like a thermostat, for both too hot and too cold in your body. Whatever is starting to go out of balance in one direction or the other, these adaptogen herbs come in and say, nope, come back. It's not necessarily these real specific actions, but that's what it does. It starts to regulate things. So it can be taken internally as an adaptogen, and it is a really, really, really wonderful nervous system balm. And that is both internally and externally. It is wonderful for your nerves. And, we cannot talk about Tulsi without mentioning the fact that it smells amazing. It is, I think it might be my favorite smelling herb. And I have a jar of it here dried. I'll just hold it up.
Can we smell it through the internet?
Yeah, here, let me open it up. Seriously. Get you a whiff of that.
Yeah. Ooh. I just made some nettle Tulsi tea this afternoon.
Yeah, that's a great combo. I love that combo. Oh, you're speaking my language. Always do. Yeah, so Tulsi, it's basil, right? It's a type of basil. And there's many different types of Tulsis as well. And it's another one that I always grow in my garden every year. It's very, very, very easy to grow. And it can grow in a pot outside on your porch if you don't have a spot out, in the yard, or it's an easy one to grow in your garden. And it will get very big and bushy, especially if it's out in a big dirt plot. And you harvest the leaves and dry them. And then those can be put into an oil. And we'll talk a little bit about oils as we get further into this, which ones I like to use in particular. But one of the great things about infusing Tulsi into oil is that it captures some of the aroma. So I think that's really amazing. And I didn't really, nobody taught me that. I just experimented, right? Like, this is all about just trying with what you have, seeing what happens. And I made my Tulsi oil and realized, oh my gosh, you can smell the aroma just through infusing the oil. And that's absolutely amazing. And so I use this all over my body. I like to combine it in sesame oil and use Tulsi. And it's like, it is a very sacred herb, and it really goes well with this mindset of the anointment. I can lather and anoint my whole body. And again, it's a wonderful calming herb for your nervous system. And, I don't know that we'll be able to get to it too much in this talk today, but I do practice uterine and abdominal massage, and I teach that. And Tulsi is one that I think is really great infused into oil to use for abdominal massage in particular, because it's a way of stimulating the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in the body. It runs from the base of our brainstem all the way down into our abdomen. It's the largest nerve. And one of the best ways to basically turn that nerve on, to get that nerve working and doing its job, is one of the best ways is actually through compassion. That triggers the vagus nerve to start doing what it needs to do. And then another great way is through touch and massage. So I use this Tulsi oil when I'm doing my abdominal massage. And I know that that's really triggering that vagus nerve, which is the messenger between the brain and the gut, that gut-brain axis.
Yeah.
That might be going a little too on tangent.
No, but it's great too. And to in thinking about, like, I use Tulsi in some formulas that I mix for clients for a warming immune support, which is exactly the nervous system support, because really our nervous system is what controls our immunity, right? Yes. And a lot of people don't make this connect. Like, when our nervous system is on overdrive, when we're stressed, when we are not fully nourished, our immune system goes down, right? That's the nervous system not being cared for. And so, like Jessica was saying, it's a really nourishing herb, especially during the colder time. It's a warming herb.
Yes.
So during the colder times of the year, it's really great. So having that dried Tulsi that you grew in the summertime to go through the winter with is such a blessing, such a good winter friend for sure. Can you tell us what products you have? I know you have the Tulsi tea lip balm. What do you have that have these? We didn't do that with calendula, but we could back up too and say, what are your projects?
As far as what I have?
Yeah, with Lila Herbals.
Products. Yeah, so with Tulsi, the only thing that I sell that has Tulsi in it is the Tulsi tea lip balm, and get yourself some. Is Tulsi tea lip balm. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
You get a little bit of a sniff. It's hard to even put on my lips because I just sit there and smell it. So maybe that's really what it is. It's a little sniffer. But, like I say, and then for me, I infuse it into oil for myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't sell oils through Lila Herbals because they're just too messy and hard to ship for me right now. But, everything I do is with a beeswax or something. And then as far as the calendula goes, like I said, it's in the baby bum balm. I also do lotion bars, and I can show you, this is the lavender lotion bar. But I do a calendula lotion bar, and that one is nice because it's unscented. Specifically, I did not add anything scented. Occasionally I will add essential oils to some of my things, specifically the lavender one. Because I do think the lavender essential oil is pretty healing. And we can go there now because that's the next herb that we're talking about. So here's the lavender lotion bar. I'll open it up so you can see, because one of my friends said, what the heck is a lotion bar yesterday? And I said, oh, here you go. This is what it is. And, it's just, it's hard to figure out which direction to go with things. Oh, and it smells so good. So this is,
I'm pretending.
This is two different ways of using lavender in here. And I'll show you what I do first is I infuse oil with the lavender flowers. So most people are familiar with lavender flowers. You can see all of them in there. And I do a slow infusion with my oils, meaning I will let them sit in a warm spot, usually for 6 to 8 weeks, because when you let them sit that long, the oils can really get in and break up the cells of the plant matter and pull out more of the medicine can be infused into the plants. That happens with a longer, slower infusion. So I do that with the lavender. And then, like I said, I'll add some of the lavender essential oil into this lotion bar as well. And the essential oil of lavender has been studied, and one of the things that has been found, or a few of the things that have been found through those studies, is that it decreases pain. So maybe some people have heard about putting it on your temples or putting it on your forehead if you have a headache. I do that. It works really, really well for me. I know some people who get migraines somewhat commonly can kind of feel the instant when it's going to come on and go to their lavender, and even just smelling it. That's what's amazing too about the aromatic plants, is often that medicine is truly in the smell, and that's all you have to do sometimes. So that's one of the beautiful things about lavender. And then the plant itself too is another one that heals wounds. It's an antimicrobial, so it is one that can help, with more infections. It's been shown to be one that's helpful for getting rid of things like yeast infections in women. It's a good one to combine, I think, for kids, if kids are in pain for some reason, just to put a little bit on a cotton ball and just to have them smell it, along with if you need to give them some kind of analgesic or something.
Awesome. So nice. Yeah, I have been a big believer in using lavender mixed into a carrier oil for sunburns. That has been so helpful for me. I burn very easily. So, yeah. So knowing that I can just put some of the lavender essential oil in some sesame oil or something and then just rub it on my sunburn, it really helps with the pain. Yes. It does take the pain of the sunburn away.
Yes.
And it's awesome. And those lotion bars are so yummy and feel so good on the skin.
Good. I'm glad that you like them. I really love them too. They're very silky. Yeah, I've made them in a very silky way. And, this is a good kind of, and you're right. I just thank you for bringing up sunburns, rashes, sunburns, anything that is red and inflamed. It's very soothing to skin that way. And it's another one that's just a great one. If you're using it on your skin, you get that benefit too of just smelling this wonderful smelling herb.
So you get to smell good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fun. Talk to us a little bit about oils. And how to use them.
So really right now, my favorite oil to infuse into is sesame oil. And I think that's because of you, partially, because I've, heard you talk about how wonderful it is. My main constitution in Ayurveda is Vata. And I know that you talk about how helpful sesame oil can be for the Vata constitution. Yeah. It's grounding. It's definitely a practice of mine to rub down my ankles and my feet before bed at night. Good. And it's a warming oil. And I also like it because it's a stable oil. It's very stable, meaning it doesn't go rancid quickly or easily. And it's not as expensive either as some of the oils, that you can use. Like jojoba oil is a little more expensive. Mm-hmm. I do love jojoba oil too. And that's one that is really close to our skin's pH. It's a very soft oil. And so I will occasionally do little infusions with the jojoba oil. And you can use olive oil, you can use avocado oil, you can use coconut oil. And some people say, well, how do you get the coconut oil to melt? You can just put it into a little double boiler, turn the heat on low, throw some herbs in there, leave them for a little bit, and just do a shorter term infusion, and that's fine. I personally have found that the olive oil, when I use it, it will go rancid more quickly than any of the others, the sesame, the coconut, and the avocado. Those are my top choices because they don't go rancid as quickly. Mm-hmm. Those are what I use. Trying to think if there's any other one I would want to mention. But, it's easy to get avocado, sesame, all of those oils. And those are plants too. We have to remember that those are from the plants. Those are seeds and nuts are where the oils come from. And so even if, you're not ready to try your hand at infusing oils with herbs, you still get the plants because that's where the seeds and the, and the nuts are coming from, or the plants. So the anointing can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You had said that you had a practice that you could share with us that
I would
combines
love
some
to.
of this
Yeah.
awareness of herbs with massage.
Yes, absolutely. And this is something, so I am an RVGO, a certified RVGO, uterine and abdominal massage therapist. And I'm going to take my little sweatshirt off because I'm going to stand up and just kind of point to the areas on my body while I show you this. And you all can practice this with me. If anybody is, tunes in later to this, we can practice this together. I won't go through the whole sequence. It's something that, as a tradition, I do more one-on-one with people, and I'm happy to do that with people via Zoom or whatever, to do sessions. But for now, I'm just going to show a few quick strokes that are really simple and can really do some profound healing. And this is what I was talking about earlier. These strokes will go over the vagus nerve, which is responsible for some of the motility of our digestive system. So, that movement, that muscle movement of the organs that are moving our food through, it's responsible for pancreatic enzyme secretions, right? So it's the vagus nerve it has so many jobs in our body. It's amazing. And it is, when you were talking about linking the nervous system with the digestive system, those are just a few concrete examples of exactly how that works. The vagus nerve, it turns on some of the enzymes, and it also turns on that kind of mastication of the food, So, okay, sorry, that's the functional nutritionist and RN in me. Gets really excited about that stuff too. So.
We love it all. We welcome all parts of you.
Okay. So I'm going to stand up and show you guys this a little bit. So, and you can do this with me. First thing is just to kind of lay your hands on your upper abdomen. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then just gently finding with your fingers your rib cage, walking up to the top, kind of where your rib cage, both sides come together there in the middle. That's your xiphoid process is up here, and then where that space starts to happen right underneath where your rib cage comes together. We're just going to be pressing in gently with the pads of the fingers on an exhale. And I'm going to be sweeping all the way down to the belly button. I'm going to come back up, and on the exhale again, sweeping all the way down to the belly button. And doing that one more time. And then I'm coming over, this is my right side. It probably looks like it's the left to you in my screen. I'm coming right below that rib cage. You can see where I'm putting my fingers on. I don't want you to do it this hard, but I'm just showing you. Right there where my rib cage stops. This is where, our liver is. So this is really giving that liver some love. And again, I'm using the pads of my fingers, and I'm going to go diagonally on an exhale down towards my navel. Again. And I'm going to come over here on my left side, right here where my rib cage ends. This is where our stomach is. So this is a nice area to massage over. It gets that hydrochloric acid going in your stomach, which is so important for helping to break down and digest food. So same thing, just using the pads of my fingers, gently sweeping down towards my navel diagonally. And this is a sequence that I would repeat, doing those 3 strokes down the middle, on the right side, and on the left side, with your breath, of course. And I would do it normally laying down or prepped up a little bit on my bed, on my back. It's a great thing to do when you've just woken up. It's a great thing to do after you've joined Hannah's morning yoga class. After she reads that wonderful poem and you're just thinking, oh, I just want to lay here for just another few more minutes. I think I'll lay and do my little abdominal massage.
Yes, that sounds fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Jessica Johnson. It's awesome to share you with this community. Can you tell people where they can find you and get some of your fabulous Lila Herbals products?
Yeah, so I will put up small batches of products that I make from time to time on my Etsy site. It's etsy.com/shop/Lila Herbals.
And we can post the link with this interview too.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah, so great to be with you in this setting and get to share you with this crowd. And stay tuned. Jessica's launching the Herb Kids platform coming up in the new year. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you have kids in your life that want to know more about the natural world and how it can support them, Jess is your lady. She's got a little guy, Lyle, 2.5. Is he 2.5 now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's 2.5.
So he's pretty cute.
He is.
You can hang out with Lyle and Jessica, learn about plants.
That's right.
Well, thanks so much, Jess, and have a great afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here, and feel free to post below this if you're watching the replay, #replay, and ask any questions. Jessica's in this group, so if you have any questions, she can get notified.
I'm happy to do that
and help y'all out. All right, have a great day, everyone. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.